What is up, guys? We start off the day with some bad news. I'm sorry to say that Wijnaldum, 4 to 6 months. So frustrating. Just as he looked so promising, a player which could really add a lot to this Roma side, we see that he picks up this fracture. He's broken his leg, man. Like, of all injuries, really, like a 4 to 6 monther. I feel for Mourinho, feel for the squad, for Wijnaldum, of course. But I think the one thing that plays into his favor and Roma's favor is the World Cup, right? So he's going to get almost 2 months of a break where he can recover. So really, if you take that 4 to 6 month time frame, reduce it by 2 months, okay, not so bad. So there is some consolation there. Does Roma return to the market? I'm not so sure. The player who immediately came to my mind was Fratesi. Does Roma start to pick up where they seemingly left off and look for him as a player who could join in? Or do they focus more on the player that they already have in Bove? I think that's probably the more realistic option. I see that Bove is a player who's ready to get more time. He's a player who is young, but is confident and one that really wants to get on the ball. So I think that there are options there in the sense that Wijnaldum goes down, but at the same time, maybe there could be a bright spot to it, especially if you get him back on the second half of the season. He becomes like a new signing, and that's just how you have to look at it, because you can't just say, oh, Wijnaldum's down and this, that, There's a game today. There's a game in a few hours, in 2.5 hours. Roma takes on Cremonese, and as you can see below on the banner, there's the predicted formations. So we see Rui Patricio, of course, Mancini, Smalling, Ibanez. Starting out the right wing back role will be Karsdorp. Matic looks to get the start with Pellegrini in the center. Spinazzola on the left. And then Dybala, Zaniolo, Abraham as the trident. However, in my opinion, it will be Cristante instead of Matic who gets the start here. So regardless of this banner, these are some projected lineups I've seen. I do think that Cristante gets the nod, but that'll be out in just over 2 hours, or maybe even a little less, an hour and a half. The official formations will be coming out. One thing I want to get to as well is I'm going to tailor this because a lot of it mentioned Wijnaldum, but Mourinho's press conference from yesterday. So this is Roma's home opener, sold out. Over 60,000 fans are going to be in attendance. Big stuff. Very exciting, and hopefully against an opponent like Cremonese. Let's be honest, they're not that strong. They're back in Serie after a very long time, but they do have a decent manager. And, before I get to the press conference, I just want to mention some things on Massimiliano Alvini. In terms of playing style, we can expect 3-4-1-2 or a 3-4-2-1, so lining up very similar to what we saw or to what we see with this Roma. He is a manager who wants his side to win the ball back quickly through pressing and then get it forward quickly. So get the ball and then get it up the pitch as quickly as you can. And maybe that this will be some type of a lifeline, this tactic, he thinks, in order to get Cremonese to stay in Serie A. And then in the view of the opposition on asroma.com, I always like to read these. He says, they ask a journalist from one of the websites. He says, I would highlight how they look going forward. The technical ability and speed with the ball of Zanimacchia and Buonaiuto, along with the pressing of the midfield duo, which is either Piquel and Ascagibar, and or Castagnetti or Escalante, and then the forwards themselves. So, seems Mike is fuzzling a little bit. Okay, let's see. Let's try to reconnect this guy. Hopefully that settles things. That should be a little bit better. Thanks, Johnny. Let me know how that sounds. That should be okay. Let me just check my settings real quick on my audio and make sure we're all good. Yeah, we should be good here. But Johnny, let me know if it's still fuzzy. So this is a team that wants to get the ball up quick. They have some players that you are familiar with, like Okereke. Okereke was at Venezia last season, and Dessers. They're both new signings, both Nigerian, and they want to get forward and work in those spaces. If you can remember, Okereke was a really big problem to Roma last season, and I'm just having a bit of a nightmare of that away loss to Venezia after they were already up. And they like to attack from the outside. So this is going to be interesting to me in the sense that you have two very good wingbacks in Karsdorp and Spinazzola. And I want to see how Karsdorp can adapt to an athletic wingback. Somebody like, I'm thinking, towards like the top competitors in Serie A. Someone like Dumfries is a player I really respect, and I think he's really good. How will Spinazzola react at this point in his rehab, being back just a couple weeks now, to a top player, one that's very athletic? So I'm intrigued to see how he does. I have confidence in him, of course, but it's a bigger test against someone like that and a very strong wingback rather than what we saw against Salernitana. So, Johnny, let me know how the mic is going on right now. I'm just curious. It seems like every day there's always something going on, either with the connection. Anyway, so back to Mourinho's press conference. He's asked at first, how are Wijnaldum? I'm going to omit Wijnaldum from the comments here just because the obvious. So let's focus on Matic because he was asked about the both of them. How is Matic looking heading into this game? And then I would love to hear your thoughts on the atmosphere around the club. It's the 8th sold-out match in a row, and it doesn't seem normal, so it's worthy of comment. It's still fuzzing, Johnny says. I don't know why. Let me unplug this and then plug it.
I can't. There we go. This is my mic. I actually don't run from a desktop. I run straight from my phone. That has to do with it. Let's check our settings here and make sure it's good. Yep, still getting from the microphone. That should be a bit better, I'm hoping. We can also try this way. Okay, hopefully that's fine now. So 8th sold out match in a row. It's up to 10 at this point. I saw that the tickets are already sold out. Who is it against? I think it's against Lecce that it's sold out in a couple weeks after Juventus. He said, I'll start with that. It's incredible. It's just incredible. Thanks, Johnny. Ooh, saved by the reconnection. For us, it's an amazing victory. Obviously, the foundation of everything is the passion the fans have for this club, but we feel a little bit of pride for the part we have played in creating this bond and helping encourage the passion of the fans. It's something fantastic. He says, I think, of course, but I also think about in the context of Italian football and everything else. Even overseas, today the fans come to watch Roma at the Olimpico, and fans overseas from Portugal or England or Spain. I have friends everywhere. They're all given an incredible impression by the images they see. Those images of the stands completely full is something that's linked closely to English football, whatever competition teams are playing in. So it's something fantastic for us to have. It gives us more motivation, but it also gives our opponents an extra incentive too. Let's take a look at Cremonese, Mourinho says. I don't look at them as a newly promoted side. I don't look at them like that because they don't play like that. They're very well organized. They know how they want to play. They know how to disrupt the opposition. They have good players and they have spent significant money to bring in more. You just have to look at the front two, who are both top players with great potential. Credit to their work, their manager for the work being done. It's worth mentioning that Fiorentina just won at the death against Cremonese in match day 1. So what Mourinho is saying is not just Mourinho mind games, but actually there's substance to what he's saying right now. It's easy to say or write that this is a game where the 3 points are already in the bag. We don't want to read or hear that, though. I 100% reject that idea. It's a tough game. When people say that last season we dropped too many points at home from games we could have won, I agree with that. But to then say that a game like this is already in the bag for us, I completely refuse that. Matic is doing well. He's had pretty solid weeks with 5 or good days of training. We are getting to the point now where we will have 5 games every 3 days or so. We even have the nice little present of playing against Monza just 2 days after the game against Juventus. I did not realize that. Why are they playing against Monza so quickly? That's ridiculous. So the weeks of the solid work and training are done. So these last couple have been especially important for players like, I feel bad mentioning Wijnaldum at this point. Nemanja was there at the start of preseason, though, so he's in good shape. We have everyone available for this game. Zalewski has had a few issues, but he trained yesterday and is all good. El-Shaarawy also had something, but now he's in perfect shape. We're all there. The only one out is Darboe, which is a sad story, and he will need time for his recovery. He's torn his ACL earlier in the season. But otherwise, we're all available, and we want to win. On to Belotti. I think some people are waiting for this. Could the signing of Andrea Belotti be the move that addresses the gap in your options you spoke about after the win over Salernitana? Mourinho says, in terms of that game in Salerno, the aim was not to make the club or the general manager realize that I wanted another striker. That wasn't the aim. The aim was to win the game. In that moment, when you don't have a like-for-like replacement on the bench for someone out there on the pitch, which is clear because no one can say that Felix or Eldor are the same as Tammy, Zaniolo, and Paulo Dybala. So in that moment, when you don't have that option, the strength on the bench was quality, experience, and know-how, which Nemanja and Gini have. They came on and they controlled the match between them. Obviously, it would have been better to kill off the match with 2 or 3 goals, but we did it in a different way, through the ability of those players. If you ask me if I want another forward, then I won't answer you. Thiago Pinto knows what I want. And if he knows what I want, then I must wait and hope that it can be done. And if it cannot be done, then we push on with what we have. You asked me specifically about Belotti. I don't want to answer on that. I think ethically, it's better not to say anything unless they are currently free agents. So I can only say that if it is true, if that he really wants to come to Roma, then I really like when a player shows such a desire to come to us. Whether or not he comes, though, I cannot say anything because I don't know. We will wait and we shall see. Diplomatic from the move. Playing Lorenzo Pellegrini in the very middle of the park, is that something that will continue going forward this season? Before I answer, or before Mourinho goes into, I believe that Pellegrini will continue to play in the center of the pitch, especially in light of Wijnaldum's injury. And he says, last season I said on a couple of occasions that I would love to have 3 Lorenzos in my team. And I said that during a period where he was growing as a player. He's at an age where he can still improve, but right now, compared to that promising player of 6 or 7 months ago, he has now truly become a great player. A truly great player. So good that it's not just 3 positions he could play in, as I said before, but more as well. He's really matured. He can play anywhere in the central midfield or even further forward where Dybala and Nicolo are. He's someone who brings quality and composure. He's really important to us. If you look at our squad in the positions where Dybala and Nicolo play, we do not have many options. We have them. We have El-Shaarawy, we have Lorenzo. It's those 4 who can play in those positions. So that's why I'm almost done here. So that's why I can't tell you that Lorenzo will only play in central midfield. There are going to be a lot of games. It's going to be a long season, and he can play anywhere. And it's not that I'm forcing him to play somewhere that he doesn't want to. He can play everywhere, and that is, for us, something really important. The next couple questions are, in your opinion, was it more difficult winning a trophy with Roma after 14 years or finding a way for Roma to win something else now? And then the last... No, that's actually a very big press conference. One question I do want to read is, every year around this time, it feels like Brian Cristante has dropped down the pecking order, and then he goes on to play almost every game or be among the most used players. How important is he as a player to you? And do you think that the team always needs to have either him or Matic in the side to retain balance? Mourinho says, Cristante is important, yes, in every aspect. Important as a player, important as a person, important for the calm he offers both on the pitch and off it. Cristante and Matic together, I think you can have balance on the pitch without them too, depending on how the side develops and how some of the other players we have. 2 or 3 years ago, Pellegrini could not provide the balance playing there now. Now he can. Gini can do it. I think that both of them can play together in the middle without any issues, without either Matic or Cristante there. Maybe I think that would be such an interesting pair. I'm speaking off the record here. Such an interesting pair to see come January, February, to see the both of them together. That would be a really nice midfield, especially one where Roma can press further up the pitch. He says, I see the team becoming increasingly mature, which means that there is option to play without different elements that are theoretically more defensive. He then talks about Zaniolo. He says he's doing really well. Physically, he seems agile and fresh. For the player who plays the way he does, who runs like he does, it's important to be able to keep up with the tempo of the match for 90 minutes. It's credit to him, first and foremost, that it's down to the staff for giving him the right training plan, for motivating him to train, motivating, for driving him to put in the work before and after the squad trains to work on his own individual needs. He's doing really well. That's to credit to him, in my opinion. Whether he stays here or is more of a question for the general manager, not me. If you were asking me if I would like him to stay, then I would really like that. I'm not going to hide that. Today, he's a really important player for us, much more important than he was. Much more important than he was. You know, fueling those rumors during this season was what happened towards the backstretch, where Zaniolo started to become used as a substitute, right? And Mourinho, Zaniolo, that dynamic, were they getting along? Was Zaniolo not good enough for the team? All these questions that were put forward in the press. But really, what needed to happen was for people to understand the big picture, was that Zaniolo came back after a massive injury, as you know, 2 massive injuries, and then had to reestablish his confidence, and not just confidence on the ball and playing, but also in front of goal, because those are 2 different things. There are many strikers out there who are not very good footballers. They're good at putting the ball in the back of the net, but as an all-around footballer, they are not. So Zaniolo had to work on getting accustomed to being back into the pitch, but also remaining calm and seeing those fine margins to help himself get the goals. And you can see in match day 1 that there's still improvement to be had, right? Because Zaniolo could have had a couple. Maybe today he gets those goals. I hope very much that he does for himself. And once he starts to get them, I believe that he will enjoy much more of his time playing in Roma, and that will be much more persuasive for him to want to stay. Today I wake up, right? I check the news. I see Chelsea wants Zaniolo. Easy pickings. Easy. Because yesterday Chelsea got blown out away at Leeds. They put on Ziyech, who did absolutely nothing in the 15 to 20 minutes he was given. I don't even think Ziyech saw the ball at all. So just because Chelsea needs a right winger, all of a sudden they throw Zaniolo's name into the mix. Why? Because for years and years, Roma was poached for their top talent, but that's not happening anymore. So I hope that the tabloids start to adjust. I don't think they will, but they ought to. And I hope that Zaniolo signs his new deal sooner or later to stop all this, because it is getting really annoying with all the news and tabloid press. Guys, let me know what you think in the comments. So, you know what Alvini is going to do? He's going to play this 3-4-2-1, 3-4-1-2. Is no difference, just depending on how you set up. Look for them to try to absorb that pressure. And then once Roma gets into their half, I think that they will start to try and attack and then get the ball up quickly, as I've read. So Alvini is looking for promotion. He's looking to stay up, right? Salvation, I should say, not promotion. With the talent that this team has brought in, this Cremonese, they're unpredictable. They could be unpredictable just the way that Venezia was last year. And of course, with Okereke there. So it's not totally in the bag. But with Roma, 60,000 plus, the home side advantage, the motivation, that push, the brividi, the goosebumps from the Curva Sud, I think Roma takes this. I think it's going to be something like 3-1. You know what? No, forget the goal. 3-0. Roma's going to hopefully shut this team out. That's what I'm feeling right now. I want to see Zalewski get in. I definitely do, especially if Roma's up by a goal or 2 in the second half. Get Zalewski in there for Spinazzola. Like to see Al-Shaarawy get his legs on, get some running in as well, because I like that he got in versus Salernitana and he immediately wanted the ball. So he doesn't look like a player that many people thought was just going to bounce out of the club and join someone like Genoa, as was reported earlier. And I want to see Abraham get that goal. I want to see him get much more of a look than he did against Salernitana. Johnny says, do you think Roma will accelerate fast to buy a new midfielder now that Gini got injured? Or do Roma want to wait for Gini's comeback? Today I saw a very interesting report of Grealish, and the center midfielder, who has I believe he has an expiring contract. And that is a player that has been linked to Fiorentina, Milan, and Roma in the past 6 months. My gut tells me Pinto returns to the market in this emergency situation, where it's not just a month and a half, or where Wijnaldum will be out, but to the point where for half of this season, he's not going to be included as a squad member. So they have to replace truly a member, even if it's just I haven't seen these a lot. Like the first half of the season loans. I remember in like FIFA 2004, you could do them where players would be loaned in for the first half until the January mercato. That doesn't happen so much anymore, but I think they return to the market. To be honest with you, Johnny. And if we go back to the Fratesi rumors, he's a player who could do a job. I think he would be a great pick, a great option for Roma to have one of their own back and fighting for the team. As well as someone like Grealish, a little bit tougher, a little bit stronger. So it's a really good question. And what is today? It's the 22nd of August. So it's Monday. That means that there's eight. Where's my math skills going? Yeah, about 8 or 9 days left in the Mercato, which ends September 1st. So, and Roma's got a bunch of games ahead of that because next Saturday, Roma play Juventus. And then they play Monza so quickly after that, which I just learned, apparently. So that's 4 games in just before the Mercato closes, so we can get a real feel now and in the next 3 games what Roma really needs. So I don't think, to answer that question, I don't think they're done midfield. I don't think they're done overall. I think that there will be maybe 1 or even 2 more additions given this Wijnaldum injury. Forza Gini, man. So check that out there. Zaniolo, he's got to get his goal. Dybala comes back, and Pellegrini definitely back to the center midfield. But like I said at the beginning when my microphone was staticky, sorry, I think that Cristante is the starter rather than Matic. Expect Matic to come on just as he did to close out the game, add that stability and balance. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. So this is just predicted. This is not official formations. It's 10:10 where I am on the East Coast, close to New York. So we've got just an hour, 2 hours and 20 minutes to go. As I'm checking the rest of the news, anything else? Mourinho told everyone else, relax. There were some rumors that Felix was guilty of making a really bad foul on Wijnaldum, and Mourinho says, stop it. Don't even get into that, and immediately stop that. Other than that, nothing crazy. Well, it's hard to get crazier than Wijnaldum's injury for today, but nothing else, thankfully. Sometimes no news is good news. And yeah. So around the rest of the league, Atalanta and Milan, they played to a tough draw. It was good to see Malinowski get that and shove it back into Gasparini's face, wasn't it? Anyway, it's very important Roma keep the pace up, especially with Napoli flying so high and Inter getting another win. So keep up the pace and we'll see what happens. Guys, thanks for joining. I'll be back. I might even be doing a live thing during the match. I'm going to look at my graphics and see if that's possible and bring my camera downstairs and see if I can record during that. I think that would be pretty cool. What do you think about that? All right, guys. See you soon.